Hi
Hi,
everyone.
hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Yes.
My name is
Mm.
Angela. Thank you for
I'm Delphine
joining.
here. Yes.
Yes, thank you for joining our Go Live today. I'm doing this Go Live at the moment from London, and I would like to introduce my business partner, Delphine Seah, who
Yes.
is Singaporean and is
Yes.
currently living in Singapore at the moment.
Mm. Yes. Hi everybody. I'm Delphine here, and right now in Singapore it's actually 6 p.m. So I suppose you are actually on the way to work. So do catch our live right now. Since you are on the train, you have nothing to do. So listen to our sharing. It will be a great sharing and fulfilling sharing for you to know how we run our business. Over to you, Angela.
Yes, so I'm also from Singapore, and so although I'm from Singapore, I have lived in many different countries throughout my career in Singapore, Hong Kong, London, New York, and actually now back to London again. And we'll share a little bit more about how I can actually live this sort of lifestyle by living, in different countries while also earning an income. Um, so Delphine has been in this business for longer than I have. So I would like to invite her to share with us what is her why on her starting this business. So
Okay.
please, Delphine, share with
Yep,
us.
thank you. Okay, I always tell everybody I'm just a very ordinary mom, who work on the street with three monkeys at home. Okay, I have three kids. They are 16, 14, and a P5, which is 10. Okay, so I started this business about 2.5 years ago. So I have been working in the financial industry for past 20 years plus, ever since I graduate. So I moved from company to company, and I saw a lot of retrenchment, a lot of merger myself. I've gone through a lot of two mergers and two sales of the company as well. So I know how important it is actually to have a sustainable income and to have an income that it doesn't give up on me anytime it wants to. So 2.5 years ago, during the pandemic, that was 2020 June, I quitted this job that I just joined about 6 months into in the year. So I joined in 2019 December, and I quitted in 2020 June because I was really too tired to overwork. During the pandemic, everybody was working from home. So it's pretty very overwhelming to work from home with the kids also at home at that time. In Singapore, you know how things work, and I understand that a lot of parents actually get very stressed out over that because they couldn't cope, with the kids at home doing HBL and then working at the same time. So same for me, I'm no difference as well. So at that time, I felt that I was totally overworked. I started work about 8 plus and I end work about 9, and that is almost every day. So till a stage that after working for 20 years plus, I find that what do I actually gain? And there's something that really strikes me where my kids really need me at that moment. I'm not there because I'm still busy trying to cope with my work, trying to meet the timelines, day after day, which I couldn't because things are coming in so fast, and I couldn't manage it. And I think automation is something that is really missing out in a lot of industry, especially the financial industry. We are not prepared to actually work from home. So a lot of automation and things like that is not there. So we are trying to cope with the changes as well. So as times go by, I find that I need a change in life. I can't be working all day long 9 to 5 for another 20 years. And what do I gain? Seriously, I don't have any savings. I can hardly save. The expenses in Singapore is really very high, especially with three kids. Those with children, you all know. Even for single, it's really hard to survive just on one salary. You have your daily, necessity, your groceries, your expenses, your transportation, even your household, loan, and all this that adds on. And on top of it, with children, you have your tuitions. Every children have tuitions, and out of four subjects, you might have four tuitions. And how much does it add up to? So this is what I always tell myself. you know, every month end, I'm just waiting for that paycheck, and that paycheck just gone after the next month. Every early of the next month. I think almost all the parents can. I hope you all can feel me because I do have a lot of friends that are in the same situation as I am. And whenever I ask them, so what do you plan to do? They just tell me what to do. I can only work. What else can I do? So it also strikes me at that time that I need to have another source of income, something that I can actually provide me with a sustainable, monthly income, and also provide me the flexibility. Because with 3 kids, I do not have a helper. I'm all alone. Okay, I'm from a mom to a wife to a helper to everything. Everything in the household depends on me. I'm even a tuition teacher. I tutor my kids myself as well.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's like I think this is what is happening in Singapore. I'm not sure about other countries, in Europe side. Is this the same situation? But for parents in Singapore, this is how they go every day, and I don't want to be part of them. Seriously, I don't want to be, to be one of them anymore. So that's why I decided to, source for an income online, which gave me the flexibility, and it's online. I do not have to spend much time. So there's one day I chanced upon this business online, and I decided to actually put a step in. I decided to explore and see how it can help me, and how I can grow my passive income from there as well. So that's how I started 2.5 years ago, and I'm still going strong right now. 2.5 years is not an easy journey, I would say, but it's definitely a very fulfilling journey. Throughout, I learned a lot, from the coaches, from the mentors that is helping us all along in this journey, in this business. So no regrets and no looking back, frankly speaking, because life is definitely getting better than before. Trust me, okay? Otherwise, I won't be here 2.5 years. If someone finds that something is really not working for them, do you think that they will still be stuck here at 2.5 years? Definitely no. We are all going, leveling up every day and every month, every year. So this is something that I also wish people who are out there hearing us could actually take the chance to actually think about what do you really want in life, especially you're in the 40s like me. Do you really want to continue your life, like what I used to be, an ordinary mom? I don't think I'm an ordinary mom right now. So that's my
All right.
sharing. Thanks, Angela. How about we hear
Yeah,
yours?
yeah, thank you so much for sharing,
Yeah,
Delphine.
welcome.
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. As I mentioned earlier, I'm originally from Singapore, and my husband is British. So I guess because of him, I, had to move around and relocate to many different countries.
Mm.
So I'm also a mom of two teenagers. And as part of my life, I mean, the friends that know me, they were like, "What? You're moving countries again?" So although I had worked, but every time I had to relocate, I had to quit my job. And when I moved to a new country, so for example, I had a career in Singapore, and then I first moved to Hong Kong. Luckily, my company at that time was open to relocating me. So I managed to, get the same, similar position within the
Mm.
same company. But when that happened multiple times, I'm not always that lucky. So very often, because my family had to come first, so I always have to quit my job, and yeah, and always, trying to get back on my feet again. Well, luckily for me, I mean, I have a very high level education. I even have an MBA. So it was always possible, to find jobs. And also, I'm the sort of person where I'm highly determined. I always produce results, regardless if it's a new role. I've always proven to my employers that I'm a fast learner, and I'm always, there to protect my team and delivering whatever I promise.
Mm.
So because of that, it was easy for me. Well, I wouldn't say really easy, but always finding my foot on the ground whenever I move countries. Having said that, having juggling work with two children has never been easy. So my job always involved me to travel quite a bit, at least about 50% of the time. And especially, for people, say, based in Singapore or Hong Kong, they know that it's a regional hub. So everyone is always expected to travel. And I've always had that guilt to balance between my work life and my career. Unfortunately, because I had quite a higher executive role, I have a team. I also have a boss to report to. I could never tell my boss that, oh, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm sorry, I can't go on this trip. And I would have had missed multiple birthdays, multiple school sports days or school plays. And I never thought, that I should be guilty. But at the bottom of my heart, of course, I felt guilty. I was just hoping, at my children's minds that they would forget. Now that my daughter is actually already 18, my son is 15, little did I know that, they do remember these little things. Unfortunately, I can't turn back the clock. I can only say to parents out there who don't want to miss any more of their children's milestone is to relook at their life again. What really struck me was COVID. So when COVID happened, I had just finished my MBA. At that time, I was thinking to myself, okay, with the new and higher, better education, I'm going to get a better job out there that will give me more flexibility. But of course, it doesn't change just because you have a higher education. You can't go back, to a similar type of job and expect things to change. And luckily, I would say for COVID, many remote work materialized because 10 years ago, that would have never have happened. Because in fact, before I was pregnant with my first child, I had asked my boss if I could continue with my work and go live in New York, with my husband. And he said to me, no, what precedence would that, you know, uh, you know, uh, I mean, see through for the rest of the employees. So he flat, no, gave me a no. And in a way, so I'm grateful that this COVID pandemic gave us all a wake-up call. So I went on a deep dive search on online business space because even if I were to say work for a tech company, I had inquired before, they had said, I still needed to spend a certain number of time within the country. That's why I thought to myself, there's no other way except to start my own online business. And I really searched really hard. So obviously for most people would say, okay, start something with Amazon because there's so many ads out there. There are many books out there on how to start an Amazon FBA business. But little did they know that it takes lots of time and a huge investment to get started. I know that because I've attended courses and I paid like close to $1,000 for a course. They promised to handhold me, but little did I know that if they were to handhold me with the mentor and the step-by-step training, you have to pay another $25,000, which was too much of a risk for me to take. Yeah. So I'm sure there are many people who succeed out there and they make it look like it's easy, but they don't really tell you the full details. So then I knew I wanted to do something online, but I was afraid to do it all alone by myself. And it was then when I chanced upon the ad of my coach that I realized, oh, this business was that tick all the boxes for me. Because not only we have flexible investment, and we all have this amazing training platform, we get the mentor and coach. And yeah, it's been really such a blessing to have found this online business. So I am in 3 months, coming to 4th month to the business now, and I'm never looking back, and I'm never going back to the corporate world. Yeah.
Yeah, great. You see, although Angela and I, we started on different, different time. We are from different region. She just one day, pop out a message and ask, do you mind to, do a collaboration and things like that. So this is something that is very, this is something that I have encountered in this business, only in this business, because I have done a lot of, I would say half online, half traditional business, selling products and things like that. But it doesn't work like that because it's always only me, myself, and I. Yeah. But for this digital business, it works very differently, which I really love a lot is I get to know a lot of people from all regions who are running this business together. They just, comes and, contact you and see what do you want to, collaborate in something, or can you help me with this and things like that. So this is how amazing life actually can be. I've never expected, life can people can actually connect with another person from another side of the world in this way. Have you ever think of that, Angela? This is the first time actually I realized that, hey, this can actually happen, even though when we are running a business. Yeah. So
Yes.
since I touched on, the products, let me share a bit of, previously when before I started this business, that was about maybe 10 years plus ago. I do online selling of children's clothes as well, but that's a lot, very taxing for me because there's an inventory that, I need to cope on, I need to manage on and things like that. So when I chanced upon this online business, I realized something that is very amazing, which is there's actually no inventory for this. I don't need to sell
Yes.
anything. There's nothing that I need to put on. I think that works very well for Angela as well, since you have to travel here and there, as and when,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I am loving this what we so-called laptop lifestyle,
Mm,
because everyone who knows me, I mean, apart from, my previous experience that I had to travel a lot for work, but, I have the travel bug like many other people, I'm sure, around the world. They love traveling, they love discovering new places.
mm,
So if you have a business where you have to be tied down to some sort of inventory
mm.
and you have to, be somewhere where you have to pack and ship out goods, so that's not going to work.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, I looked at other options as well because there's so many ideas out there in, say,
Yes.
TikTok. People say,
Mm,
oh, why don't you try something on Etsy? But then I realized when I looked into that, yeah, you actually have to pick and well, you actually had to do some sort of shipping at some point to
mm. Most of the
get.
online business does have something that, we need to sell. I like something that you say because this is a really laptop style digital business. So we just simply need to bring along our laptop or even our phones along, and that's what we need.
Exactly.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
flexible, and portable as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Mm,
So how we are earning is also because we are affiliated to a very well established company,
mm,
and that makes it all possible. And we also know that there are people out there who do affiliate marketing,
mm,
and they will have to go and search for an affiliate company that will pay a generous income. But with our business, we've already found this winning affiliated company.
mhm,
So if you're interested to learn more, please, register for a free webinar where you will learn all the tools and tricks about this business.
mm. So register for the complimentary webinar at our website here. Okay, Angela's one and mine, to know more, or you can actually connect with us, via Facebook, through this live stream, or you can comment in this live stream so that we can get back to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So we will be running a series of interviews every week. So please let us know if you have questions. If not, we will address more topics following
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. All
Yeah.
right then.
Mm. We'll
Okay.
see you then.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you so much,
Angela. See you,
Delphine. All
everybody.
right.
Bye.
Bye.